Hello everyone and welcome to 3 Scenes, 3 Movies, where I talk about scenes and break down movies from a director's perspective. So with further ado, let's jump into the 3 movies that we're going to study today.
What I mean is, do you think she'd go behind your back, try to hamstring you?
The Shawshank Redemption.
That's it.
The rooftop scene relies on subliminal visual elements to emphasize the power dynamics between the inmate and the officer. The camera cranes down from above the character to convey his vulnerability and the threat of falling to his death. In a change of conversation, the camera changes its direction. Once the camera gets to Andy's level, it moves with him, inviting the viewer to Andy's persuasion. This scene exemplifies great visual storytelling because we don't necessarily have to hear the dialogue to comprehend what is happening. The motivations of the camera and blocking do that for us. The camera then switches from Andy to the officer's side, breaking the axis of action, also referred to as the 180-degree rule in filmmaking. The 180-degree rule is a cinematography guideline that maintains spatial relations between two characters in a scene. When the camera passes over the invisible axis connecting the two subjects, it is called crossing the line, and the shot becomes what is called a reverse angle. Breaking this rule can distort the spatial awareness and disorient the viewer. The rule is broken here, but is used intellectually to reorient the audience to the settled resolution, with Andy winning the scene. Our eyes are directed to the character's actions in order to create symmetry. Eye tracing, motivated by the camera's movement, are aligned with the characters passing the beers, eliciting contentment in a difficult world.
In the morning, drinking icy cold Bohemia-style beer, courtesy of the hardest screw that ever.
We know how the characters think and feel, revealed from the meditative camera movements capturing their emotions. Now the inmates have power over the guards, further emphasized with a close-up. Characters remain in the foreground to emphasize power, while less important characters are utilized as a backdrop, conveying the contrasting viewpoints of the social structures in prison. The camera engages the viewer emotionally, from the harsh conditions of labor to empowerment. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. A wide shot situates the characters in the setting, allowing the audience to access the space within the scene. Now we start to size up a new character, the antagonist, Moriarty. We see that he's a university professor.
I hope I'm not intruding.
Excuse me. Matthew, please take these up to Mr. Williams and make sure he packs my white tie and tails.
I'll take care of it, Professor.
I do apologize. I'm off on a blasted lecture tour. Would you care for some tea or coffee?
Neither.
Something stronger, perhaps?
No, but might I trouble you for an inscription?
Then we jump into the blocking, where we see the mindset of Sherlock Holmes through the use of editing.
I read that the good doctor was to be married today. How was the service?
Definitive. He'll no longer be party to my investigations. He's out of the equation.
As Sherlock investigates the scene, so does the audience. Wherever he looks, the camera cuts to his point of view. Upon investigation in Moriarty's affairs, Holmes tries accessing his space, which is visually emphasized through the dominant demeanor of standing over him.
Have you actually read the book?
I found it compelling, though I'm primarily interested in your more recent endeavors.
I take that as a compliment. I have the utmost regard for your talents. It's a pleasure to...
Moriarty changes gears, inviting Holmes into his world through a simple gesture. When Holmes previously entered Moriarty's space, they were together, but as Holmes continues his investigation through cross-examination, they remain isolated in their own frames. This is utilized to set up their differing viewpoints. Tension heightens as more information about their personal affairs rise to the surface. Let's investigate the purpose of framing. Close-ups are utilized for the audience to obtain greater access to characters. The closer we are, the more we familiarize ourselves with the character's viewpoint.
Moral insanity.
In answer to your previous request regarding...
Close-ups aren't just utilized to reveal information. They also provide insight into Moriarty's space through the metaphor of chess, which elicits the response
sure to send
to
my
how his
regards
rivalry with
to the happy
Holmes
couple.
is very much a game. Now the stakes are raised. A competition
time, then.
is established between the two rivals. Three colors blue. The director paints the scene with vivid hues of blue and presents us with an abstraction of close-ups. Perspective and how we interpret them is the filmmaker's most effective form of communication. This abstraction forces the audience to make sense of the introspective moments of the characters' actions and how their space aligns with each other. Instead of showing us an action sequence with a car crash, we remain in the subjective viewpoint with the onlooker, only seeing the result of the action. The filmmaker forces the viewer to see how one character affects another, in order to convey how their relationships may have a wider, more tangible repercussions, which later realizes the healing power of creation and love. Thank you all for tuning in for 3 Scenes, 3 Movies. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more. Feel free to suggest a movie scene in the comments as well. Catch you in the next video, and as always, see you on set.